Today's topic is the free energy in AP biology. This is the amount of energy in the cell that is available to use it for work. Laws of thermodynamics. The first law says that energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. And the second law states that when energy transformation, conversion, one type of energy turns into another type of energy, or transformation, conversion can happen, it always increases the disorder of the material. So the entropy, the S, capital S, is going to increase. The disorder in the universe increases when energy transformation happens. So the equation for the free energy is delta G. The G is the free energy, equals to delta H. H is the enthalpy, the internal energy of a compound, minus T delta S. The delta S is the entropy. So if the delta G is the available energy for the system, if it's negative, it's going to be exergonic. It will be spontaneous, spontaneously will happen. If the delta G for our calculation is going to be positive, that means it's endergonic, so it's not going to be a spontaneous reaction. So chemical reactions. There are two types of chemical reactions based on the delta G. We are going to talk about the exergonic first. So the x-axis is the time and the y-axis represents the free energy. Basically that includes the enthalpy and the entropy. So when the reactant's energy is that amount, that much free energy, that depends on the enthalpy and the entropy. In order to have a lower energy state for the products, the amount of it needs an activation energy, and this is the amount of energy needed for the reaction to start. And if we use enzyme, the activation energy will be less, but the reactant's free energy and the product's free energy will not change. The enzymes will not modify anything in the reaction, but lowers only the activation energy. So the red arrow represents the energy that is released, the free energy that is available for the system to use work. This is the free energy part. So this is an exergonic reaction that releases energy. On the other hand, the other reaction, a chemical reaction, can be endergonic. So time and free energy on the y-axis. And at this point, the reactant's energy level is less than the product's energy, free energy level. So this orange represents the reaction that when there's no enzyme present, the orange is the activation energy. And the green represents again the activation energy that is needed when enzyme is present. So we see that the enzymes are really good. They lower the activation energy for the reactants. The red is the free energy, and now it's positive, so that means energy is needed in this scenario in order to happen. So this is endergonic reaction. And now analyzing out the exergonic and endergonic, when we are going to have exergonic and endergonic reactions. So negative, when delta G is negative, that means it's spontaneous. When the enthalpy is negative and the entropy is positive. Entropy is the disorder of the particles, molecules, whatever they are making, make up the product. Example for that is the cellular respiration and hydrolysis of macromolecules when they break down into monomers. It's another one is spontaneous when the enthalpy is 0, but then the entropy is going to be positive. That happens when we mix two substances together, so the disorder will increase. On the other hand, a non-spontaneous reaction happens if the enthalpy is positive, so they have a high potential energy, but the disorder will be it's going to decrease. Example for that is the photosynthesis, and when monomers through dehydration they are going to form polymers. Also non-spontaneous reaction is when we have the enthalpy is 0, but the entropy is going to just decreases. That is, water freezes to ice. And the last section is here in organisms, the exergonic reactions fuel endergonic reactions. The reactions are usually coupled, so one fuels the exergonic that releases free energy is going to fuel the energy that is needed, free energy. So the glucose and the oxygen turns into carbon dioxide and water. This is the cellular respiration. This is exergonic reaction that fuels the endergonic reaction when ADP and the phosphate group is going to turn into ATP through the dehydration reaction. So metabolic activities, all the activities that happen in our body are made up of anabolic reactions and catabolic. These are the two types, catabolic reactions. Anabolic is building up materials, catabolic is breaking it down. That happens spontaneously in our cells in our body. Anabolic reaction is the photosynthesis, when small molecules turn into big molecules, monomers to polymers. And the anabolic reactions are non-spontaneous reactions. The products high in energy, their enthalpy is increasing and the entropy can decrease. The delta G is always positive, requires energy from the surroundings, and they are forming ATP. Catabolic reactions, on the other hand, they have, for example, the cellular respiration, the free energy is negative, free energy, the delta G is negative. Products have lower energy levels, spontaneous reaction, energy is released, and breaking ATP is an example for catabolic reactions. Both of them require enzymes in our body to lower the activation energy. I guess that's pretty much it about the free energy.